you aware of your presentation date? Presentation, the final presentation date. Are you aware of it?
No, Prof.
You are not aware yet.
Yeah.
Not really. Okay. I am told that there's a changes to the presentation date. There will be some extension of a week to give you more time.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, to give you more time. So that's what I am told. I do not have the schedule. The schedule will be presented by Madam Nozi. If you can ask her the next meeting that you have with her to furnish you with the information about when is the presentation date. Yeah, but I'm told that it will be extended. You'll be given 1 more week for you to prepare before the presentation. So,
Prof, usually when the presentation week 14
no, initially, if we look at the schedule that I've created for you before and I presented in the early of the semester, your presentation date will be divided into 3 sessions, 3 dates actually. It will be on the 12th, 13th, and 14th week. But now, since that we have discussed, and then I'm told that you will be given one week extension. That means you will present maybe, I'm not so sure, but as I mentioned to you, you can. Madam Nozi will furnish you with the dates. It will be week 16, I think. Week 16. That means you have more time. You have more time to prepare yourself, right? So basically, what will happen is that I have 2 more lectures actually to finish the lecture. I have 1 more today, which I'm going to give you on research methodology, which is a very important part of your work, and it is a requirement that you have it inside your thesis writing, your chapter. One of the chapter is on research methodology, so we are going to discuss about that. And then when we come back from Raya, from the semester break, I will give you 1 more lecture, which is on writing, right? On writing what the right writing, you know. I've seen some of you, there were some mistakes. How you how do you address yourself in the writing, and then how do you do citation and so forth. So we are going to look at writing. That will be in week 10, because now today is week 9, so there will be week 10, and after we come back we will have that one week, 1 lecture on writing. And then after that, that means 11, 12, 13 and 14, because I want to finish 14 weeks. You are given extension of only 1 week 16. We will evaluate your work. So 10, 11, 11, 12, 13 and 14, right? 11, 12, 13 and 14. That means there's supposedly you're supposed to have a presentation then, but now you're not having a presentation. So do you have any suggestion what we will do during that especially week 11 and 12? 11 and 12. Okay, 13 probably also. So what do you have any suggestion? Because by then, week 10, I will finish all the lecture that I need to give you.
I think a tutorial how to present ke, Prof?
What's that again?
Cara-cara untuk present FYP ke, soalan yang akan ditanya ke selalunya macam tu. Okay,
so we can, that means week 11, I will discuss with you what needs to be in your presentation first. How do you find that? I will tell you what is needed in your presentation, right? Because you're going to present online this time around. The poster, I don't know whether they are going to have a poster. All those things will be discussed by Madam Nosy, but definitely you are going to have a presentation. So it means you have to have a presentation slide. So I will discuss with you like what you said just now. Ilyas mentioned that I will give you the tips of presentation. Remind me of that, yeah. I have a slide for that. I can give you tips of presentation, what is needed to be in presentation, the questions that you may ask, and then I'll probably give about 1 hour lecture on that, and then we have a session of question and answer. If you have any question that you want to ask regarding the presentation, the content of the presentation, yeah, not when and how, because you're going to get that from Madam Nosy, but the content of the presentation, yes, we can do that. That means that is week 11. But what about 12 and 13? 14, okay, you prepare yourself. The 12 and 13, what do we want to do? Somebody mentioned just now a mock presentation. What do you all think? Somebody, Umar mentioned mock presentation. What do you think?
I agree with one.
You agree? Okay, you agree. So what we're going to do is that, can Oliver, can you on the week of, we have week of 11, we have 11, I will do the presentation. I will discuss about your slide presentation, what is required to be inside that. And then 12 and 13 and 14 maybe, we will do mock presentation. So Oliver, can you take up the, wait, hold on, what is it? Prof, in particular time, can we submit our writing to turn it in so that we can check our error percentage? Yes, definitely. We will, I will discuss this. With about the turning in. I will discuss this with Madam Nosy and see how. But definitely you can put it in turning in. This is what we will do is that we open a class for in turning in, and then you can just enter it as once you finish, and then if you do the second draft, you change and you want to put again, so you are free to put how many times you want. Okay, but we will open up a class for you for under turning in so that you can enter. Okay, I will discuss with Madam Nosy about that. Okay, just now I mentioned that about 12, 13, 12, right? Okay, this is what we're going to do. On week 12, I want Oliver to schedule who should be presenting in the mock presentation, week 12. Okay? And then week 11, 12, 13. Okay, week 13, I want Aisha. Aisha is here? Aisha? Aisha cannot hear me? Okay, yes. Okay, Aisha, I want you to handle week 13. So that means you have to do an Excel file. You all discuss how you want to do it, because I do in a mock presentation. You imagine that I do not want to have too cram of a number of people inside the presentation, because you have to give me time to look at your objective, to refine your objective, to make to give you feedback. Yeah, I want to give feedback. So do not cram. Yours, Oliver, will be in week 11. Sorry, no, 11, week 12. Umayyah can take the last week. Umayyah, can you take it? The last week? Which is week, 10 would be, I repeat again, 10 would be the writing lecture. 11 would be the presentation lecture, what to do in the presentation. 11, 12, Oliver, you will create a schedule for 12. How many people will be inside there? Who's going to be inside there? You have to schedule people for week 12. For week 13, who was supposed to schedule just now? Aisha.
Aisyah.
Okay, Aisyah will schedule week what, Ilyas? 13.
13.
Yes, week 13. Aisha will schedule week 13, and the last one, week 14, which we will still have class. That means Umayyah. Umayyah, can you schedule for the last? Okay, so that will be week 14. So what I need you all to do is that give me time for me to discuss. If we do not have enough weeks, then you please tell me. Then what I will do is that I will try to allocate week 11 for presentation as well. So 11 for mock presentation as well. So you tell me, okay? The three of you, Aisha, Oliver, and Umair, please discuss. And then come back to me if you think that it's not enough to put everyone to present. Everyone should present. Everyone should take this opportunity, because the final presentation would be the one that will be taken into consideration for evaluation, and you do not want to have problem during that time. So everyone must present. So we will hear from the three of you. Okay, you can, and I want the schedule to be separate from each one of you, and I want it in Excel file because I want to keep that schedule. Okay, am I clear? Is it clear? All right, clear. Okay, now let's go to the presentation for today. I will present and I will present. What is it? Any question before the presentation?
Prof.
Yes.
Week ni week 9 ke week 10 eh?
Today?
Yeah.
Today is week 9.
Week 9 because Methodologies said this week is week 10. So we confused.
Oh ya ke? in my schedule is week 9. Wait, let me check. Sudah. What have I done? Wait, yeah. Week 10? Ya ke? I think I follow instruction already. This is week 9. I'm very good at following instruction, which is not so good, but but that is me.
Oh, alright, like that. Week 9
It's me. I'm very. It's not good to follow instruction too much, but I am a very keen follower of instruction. So I'm quite surprised that I didn't do it right. But never mind. Yeah, it's week 9. This week is week 9. Let me see again. Yeah, week 9. We are in week 9. In my schedule, is week 9.
Alright, Prof.
Okay, Shahir also said week 9 for sure. So I'm right, yeah? Okay. So, okay, let's go to the presentation. Okay, everyone. Oh, sorry. Wait, hold on. Thank you for being patient. Okay, let's go to research methodology. Can you all see the screen? Somebody please say yes or no. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Today we are going to learn about research methodology for computing and information system project. Yeah. But however, what I'm going to show you beyond the project, yeah, I give you some ideas. So how you want to do it is up to you. Yeah, because I give you samples. I do not want to restrict myself into just the typical research methodology. Yeah. You will see the typical research methodology, and I'm sure you have seen it. Okay. So what is research and methodology? Research is a systematic process of collecting, analyzing information in order to discover new knowledge or expand and verify the existing one. In which all of you, from your mind map, I can see there is already some new knowledge that you are putting in. In fact, some of you did some expansion of knowledge as well. So good for you. I'm happy with your mind map, as I might have already mentioned, and but then again, as I mentioned, not everyone actually presented their mind map. So I'm quite, I can only speak about those who have already presented. So I'm happy with the presentation did by all those who are presented, and I hope the rest will not have a problem. Will have almost have taken all the points that I've stated and points that done by your friends, your peers, to improve and to make a better, to create a better mind map. And what about methodology? Methodology is the underlying theory analysis of how research does or should proceed, often influenced by discipline. Okay, this is very philosophical for you, but we will see how what is meant by this. Yeah. So students from computer science should be expected to look at things much more critically and more deeply than you would elsewhere. Academic projects should provide evidence of much deeper understanding of what you are doing. Expect to develop your own thoughts, argument, ideas, and a concept in which you have shown in your mind map. Yeah. And the deeper understanding of each situation and problem and events must be supported by evidence of research, which you can be shown through your research skill, in which you have shown in your literature review. Yeah, we discussed about that. Okay. Now, what happened in computing project is that a project is something that you know what is the beginning and you can see the end. Okay, the end is obvious. So you have a sequence of activities. This sequence of activities is the one that we want to translate now. So you have an existing situation and you have a desired solution, in which that desired solution will give you the outcome of your project. And the sequence of activities is the one that we are going to discuss today. How do we want to put in the sequence of activities? In every single problem, when you want to find a solution, then there will be an activities that you need to do. Sometimes you will not spell it out. You were not clear of the activity. You didn't put it clearly what are the activities, but you do have activities. Okay, so these activities will present as a project of completion, right? So obviously, this is developed through the time of frame that is given. That's the reason why you have to have a Gantt chart, and your Gantt chart has to be reflected. So in your presentation, one of the things that is important to also we will discuss about what is the content of your PowerPoint later on of the presentation for your FYP and for your proposal. So one of it that is important to have is your Gantt chart, and your Gantt chart should not end. It starts this semester, early of the semester, and should not end at the end of this semester. It should be at the end of next semester. So that means you have to take into consideration the time frame from identifying problems to solving and getting a solution would require you to take the 2 semesters that is given to you. Okay. The computing project that you embark upon gives you the opportunity to make own contribution, and you can develop your own skill, ideas, and work of others. Of course, work of others is citation. I've seen some of you, your citation, you have used the right citation. Thank you very much for doing that. But you can improve it further. Okay. I'm not going to go to research-based, even though we have already discussed about this, right? Maybe I just read through so that if you have any question, now you should be more clearer of the type of project, computing project you are doing. You should be by now, because by looking at the progression of our work throughout these few weeks until today, I can tell you that you can already tell where you are, in which competing project types are you working on. So we have one we call research-based. This is an investigation of a particular area, improving your understanding of that area, identifying strength, weakness within the field, discussing further development and investigation. This is a research-based. So in a research-based, you will have to read a lot. You have to have a lot of reviews, because from these reviews, you are going to propose something, propose a model, a framework, and then you will investigate whether this framework is viable. Yeah, the way you do investigation is not the way you do the investigation, probably by looking at the measurement that you want to take. The next one is the development. Development not only to develop software, hardware system, but include the process model, methods, algorithm, theories, design, requirement specification, and other interim documentation. Now, some of you this is all the possible process phases. The possible phases in the development, not necessarily that you have to do all this phase, but this is all the possible phases of development. Okay. Then you have evaluation. All right. Evaluation involve an evaluation of several approaches to a particular problems. Project in category may well include case study. So, for instance, you have performance evaluation for classification methods, a comparative simulation study. So this is an example. Okay. Then you have industry-based, involves solving a problem within either an organization or another university department. If it is we can see that it is a real problem, that you are trying to solve. Example, dynamic network exploration through semi-supervised functional embedding. This is a dynamic problem, where you take the data. The data is from a real-time data in order for you to solve it, and it is basically what industry require to identify as a problem and required to be solved. Problem solving involve the development of new technique to solve the problem. Might involve evaluation of different approaches or theories in different situations. Okay, what is a project requirement? There are so many project requirements here. The slides here given by taken by University of Derby. They said the requirements of a research project requirements is that you are able to work independently. That's one. You can identify additional knowledge. You can draw existing knowledge and identify additional knowledge, which most of what you have shown in the your mind map, those who are presented, they have shown that they have identified some additional knowledge, or differentiate some knowledge, or expand the knowledge available. Ability to create to critically evaluate advanced literature. We have talked about this. when we talk about literature review, you definitely will have to look at, I've given you some questions that you can use when you want to evaluate critically at a article. Okay, conceive original idea, plan your work effectively, use appropriate hardware, software, tools, methods, and techniques, which you can do that. We do not restrict you into creating an algorithm. We say that you can select appropriate tools. Yeah? Ability to work effectively in written and oral form. This is very important because, as you know, I've already mentioned to you that the percentage of your evaluation for your final year project mostly comes from the written document, which is your final year report. Yeah. Critically evaluate your own work, or your peers can help you to critically evaluate your work, and identify areas of further research. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't think so. I need to go into this. Okay. What is a research method? Okay. Research method is a guidance or roadmap what we should do to get your project done. Okay. What are the approaches that you can use in order to make to ensure that you can complete your project? So usually research methodology will usually be drawn like a map. It's like a road map. I will show you some of the samples. No ideal research method, depends on research type. Research methodology is the underlying theory analysis of how research does or should proceed, often influenced by that discipline. Okay? The research methods that you can use to accomplish your work, for instance, you have observation, you have project development, you have analysis, evaluation, assessment of theory. Okay? It can also provide instruction on exactly how to repeat, and the reason why research methodology is very important. For instance, yes, the last week somebody wanted to do on generative adversary network, right? GAN. So I mentioned about a name of a student who actually you can get that information and you can work on. I just had received an message from him recently, wishing me a Salam Ramadan, it is your senior. So now, it is very important that in a research methodology that you have a good research methodology, because it will provide instruction on how to repeat the experiment. For instance, now in the case of those who wants to follow the same method, GN method, for instance. And if they were to look at the work of the student, they can be able to, the senior, they will be able to know exactly how to repeat the experiment done by the student, by the senior. So this research methodology helps you actually to understand and to also make sure that you are able to work further on an experiment, or to imitate back the experiment done by the researcher before. So it's very important that you put a lot of your explanation in your research time, talks, in your research to come up with a good research methodology. And it also to describe the experimental or theoretical techniques and method with enough detail to allow other researchers to repeat your measurement and to evaluate your methods, as I mentioned just now. Okay. These are the elements that is important in a research methodology. The first one is the subject. The second one is the sample preparation techniques, sample origins, field site description, data collection protocol, data analysis techniques, computer. Sometimes it could be because, for instance, I have a student who's currently running on big data, So the computer programs that she used and also computer specification that she used is very important to be noted and to be recorded in her work, in her methodology, because reason being, like just now, say that you want to look and you want to expand the work on a different specification. With her information on the specification that she has done, you can know that how you want to expand this your processing power. Yeah, so it's very important. Description of equipment that is used. Yeah, and sometimes also the experiment environment is also important. For instance, in images, when you want to take, for some of you who want to go and take images of plants, so you need to know that you cannot just go to the site and then take the images, because then the lighting, the lighting, the environment would create a lot of noise. So you want to reduce the noise. So usually what will happen is that you will create a setup, the same setup for every pictures that you take. So what is the setup? You need to explain in your research methodology. How do you develop the setup? What is needed in the setup? You need to explain in the methodology, so that when people read it, they know, oh, okay, he has a control environment when he takes this picture. So we can, that give credibility to your work. Okay. So this is an example of research, a normal research, like what you have seen so far. Many of your friends, your seniors, they have done this. This is a common research approach and methodology. So of course, they will start with problem assessment, then you have problem definition, then you have knowledge acquisition, in which you collect the data, and then you have requirement analysis, where do you get the source of this analysis requirements. So you mentioned that from web observation, from data for personal profile, and then you did a design and taxonomy construction. Then you look at the architecture of constraints, and then the development. Then you mentioned the tool that you are using, the programming language that you'll be using, the constraint that you might have. All right, and then by the side here is all would be the deliverables for each of the situation that you mentioned here. Now, this is a common thing. You see this common research approach in many of your seniors' work. Yeah? But I'm going to give you something a little bit different. Maybe will make you think a little bit how best for you, in your case, that you want to present your research, okay, or your project. So now I give you one. Okay, now look at this one. This is another example. This is a research framework. In this framework, there's there is 5 sections. Okay, if you look at this on your left hand side, is given here the objective. Yeah? The left hand side here is given here the objective. Now, there are so many objectives. Please do not go to this extent. I've told you 3 objectives will be good enough for you, but this is an example that has many objectives. Okay, if you look at this, and these objectives will be transparent in the research framework provided here. Okay, in which each one of these will be used in order, will be shown will be answering the objective given here. So if you look at here, the first part of the research framework, he mentioned about how he actually come up. If you look at the above here, it talks about problem definition, objective, and everything. Here it does not mention, but here it mentioned that it's looking, the person is looking at the theoretical study, and it mentioned about 3 topics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 topics. Yeah, 5 themes to be discussed in the literature, to be studied in the literature, and of importance that will be shown in the next phases. So if you look at this, there's, like what I mentioned, 5 major topics. And then it mentioned here that signature, for instance, one area would give an interpretation of the features. The second 2 areas will create a combination of methods. And the 2 different areas will create a trait matrix, we call it a trait matrix that will look into the personality trait matrix. So there are phases here. There's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. Of course, it did. But in the case of this particular research, he did not mention it. He did not mention phase 1, phase 2. But the dotted line here shows that he will have to finish this phase 1. And from this phase 1, what is the output of this phase 1 is the evaluation metric for these 2. And then the fuzzy and neurofuzzy that he used will be an output to the 4th phase, and the signature recognition will be the deliverables. The deliverables will be used in the 3rd phase. Okay, and then he also mentioned he has an empirical study in which he creates the signature feature interpretation, and he will have to evaluate it, and he evaluates trait matrix here. Okay, and when you construct, yeah, this is to identify, you can see identify signature features, to construct personal matrix graphology. That is all in the 1st phase. To formulate an algorithm to extract signature features to each of the identified features, that will talk about the 3rd phase and the 4th phase. To identify and develop fuzzy inference, again from the 3rd and 4th phase. To identify and develop neurofuzzy architecture for every feature derived from a created fuzzy inference architecture, that will be the 4th phase. To build functional system prototype that can extract signature feature and identify the personality, that will be the 5th, the last phase. And to validate is also the last phase. Okay, this is one example. The next example is a research framework. Instead of calling, just now you don't have phase, but I'm calling it as phase. In this case, it's called stage. There's stage 1, stage 2, 3 and 4, and stage 5. And all these stages will answer the objective given here. And if you see in this framework, it mentioned the contribution. Yeah, the contribution here, it shows that, okay, contribution number 1, what will it come out? And this will link to the first objectives. Contribution 2 will link to the 2nd objective. Contribution 3 will link to the 3rd objective. So you see how this all ties together. So if you can see for this particular example 2, the person did primary study and data understanding stages, okay, and where it shows a little bit about the raw data, because this is very important. She had to spend a lot of time here, so she has to put this as part of her stage. Yeah, and then she did stage number 2, which she will come up with RPI, which is ranking-based pruning of items, and this is actually to describe the first objective that she has done, which is to analyze the set of SNP measures for frequent item set mining. So this is what she got, and she shows the process of what she will do under stage 2. And then she will formulate the weighted support model, in which will answer objective number 2, and WSM weighted support will be her 2nd contribution. And here is the process of her stage 3 and 4. Yeah? And then stage 5 is the descriptive gene set analysis, in which she also is her contribution, which is translated in her third objective that talk about how this biological information can be that can produce relevant variants of knowledge. And the term that she used, or the contribution of this particular stage, which is the third objective, is called descriptive gene set analysis. Okay. Next, another research framework. This is two research framework. One is to develop an online recognition system that can perform timely and accurate recognition of CCP's events as even as they are developing. So if you can see here, you have phases. She's shown here, the person showed here, three main phases. The first phase is to look at the selection of input representation and recognizer design. And then she will use ANN based recognizer to determine an approach of online monitoring and recognition. And she mentioned the process that she will do inside here. And then after that, she will use basic scheme to enhance the discrimination capability and enhance the scheme, and which she showed the process here. And this also ties with the objective that is being mentioned here. Okay, to develop and improve recognizer that can perform accurate classification of partially developed CCPs. Okay, and the use of ANN-based recognizer. So this is another framework, example of a framework. Okay, now research methodology combine the process, method, and tools that are used in conducting process, method, and tools that you use in conducting research in research domain. The method is the how the results are achieved. You have to explain how data was collected, you have to explain how data was analyzed, and you have to explain how data is being processed. Okay. Common mistakes about research methodology is that you have very little information, or you use a generic method, meaning that if I'm going to use fuzzy, therefore I will show only the generic fuzzy method. You know, that is not, that means you have very little information that you put in your research methodology to solve your problem. So therefore, it is difficult for us to see how this method that you put, the generic method, can be a specific method to your problem. And then there's a possibility there's a repetition and the results, you know, because you do not put the result properly and you are not sure of the results that comes, that tie with that activities and the objectives. Okay, so this is the tips and guides that you must avoid. First, avoid unnecessarily detail. Okay, write in the third person passive tense. Data pre-processed were performed. Do not say I performed. Yeah, you usually use a third person passive tense. Don't introduce discussion or conclusion in this section. Diagram or figures, because conclusion and discussion is in another chapter which will come in your next semester, in which you will further enhance your work into analysis, discussion, and conclusion. Diagrams or figures of the experimental setup are often useful in order to show scale, to point out important features. Schematic or flowcharts are also useful to show processes, like what I've shown you the samples above. Okay. Keep notes of what you did, why you did it, and what happened. Some researchers keep research diaries so that they have a record of the methods they use, activities that they take. Yeah? Make sure you develop some way of recording your work, and that you can carefully select which material to include in your final methodology section. Okay. Example of some different types of research. You have analysis, okay, in which you probably will have a methodology that shows about classes of data collected, studies conducted, formulation principles that you might be your guide, And then for case study, you probably in your research methodology have background, you have the development, current condition, environment interaction of one or more individuals, groups, communities, business, and institution is observed. Will also be included, recorded and analyzed of stages of patterns in relation to internal and external influences. When we talk about comparison, if the research is of comparison, two or more existing situations are studied to determine their similarity and differences. Then you have correlation prediction. This is statistical correlation coefficient probably can be used among the number of factors and that can be interpreted. Evaluation, research to determine whether a program or project followed the prescribed procedures and achieved the stated outcome. Okay, and so forth. All right. So basically, that's the research methodology slides for you, and I want to show you an example of methodology. When we talk about steps, I'm not so sure that you can see here. Okay, so if you look at methodology, it will actually discuss about the steps that you are taking. You imagine there's a phases here. This is your first phase. So in your first phase, which tie with your objective here, this is the activity that you need to do. First, you you have to put, because this is, you can see 1.1, 1.2, that means that this is the first phase. And of course, it ties with the objective. And then these are the part that you need to do, okay? And then the second phase, for instance, what are the things that you need to do? And you can imagine, you can also develop here the deliverables of each phase. Or probably for each activity, there is there's something that you deliver. The second section maybe, but sometimes what they do is that all three will have one you want to deliver. Some might say that each one has something that they want to deliver. That is very interesting. You can do that because each of these deliverables meant something and could be expanded in your writing of your conclusion letter, discussion, analysis and discussion letter. Okay, so this is an example of a methodology. Okay, so that would be all for me. Okay, so do you have any question? Any question? Are you clear about the research methodology? So I can imagine, one of the section of the presentation in a MOOCs presentation, I will scrutinize on your methodology. So please make sure that your research methodology is actually representing your work, not a general research methodology that we can find from the internet or from, from books that talks about what is the process or what is the process of fuzzy to present to create a fuzzy algorithm. It is not like that. You have to have the subject that you want to solve inside your activities of your methodology. Okay. Any question?
Okay, Prof.
Okay, that's good.
Prof, do we have to send the framework?
The research framework, when you have to send?
We have to send or not?
Because if you look at our lectures, we do not have time for me to scrutinize on your research framework. But what we can do is that we have a mock presentation later. During that time, if you create your framework at that time, and then you, if possible, you come up with a table of the method of the activities, meaning that you have the framework like I showed you just now, right? Wait, let me. Just now I showed you the framework, right? That is a framework, and then you have to transcribe the framework into activities, right? For instance, how do you create these activities? Let me show you. You probably will have okay. So let me share with you again. So you probably will have something like this. Can you see the slide now? Can you see the slide? Everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember this is the whether you do it like this or if you follow what is shown here, whatever ways of you doing this is a flow. Okay, this is also a flow, but this is a encompasses of phases that you want to talk about, right? And then whatever you do here, you have to have a description table. We call it a description table. Because this is just to show, okay, this is the diagram that shows the flow and everything. But the description table is something like this. You have your objectives. You have your phase one. You do not have to have theme. That's why I don't want to put this. Because if I put this, then everybody has to follow. But you can have research questions. Very interestingly, there is research questions which we have discussed about. And the steps, activities that you need, which is the methodology that you need to do. And if you have measurement, you can mention about the measurement. If you don't have this, or you probably the measurement comes at the last phase only. It depends on your work. And then what are the results, or what we call it? What are the deliverables? What are deliverables that you get? So this is a description table. So description table of the methodology needs to be there. So there are two things that is important, which is the flow. The second one is the description table. Okay? Is that clear?
All right.
So I would reckon that I will be able to I am to advise you during the mock presentation. That's the reason why I said the mock presentation. The three identified person that supposed to do this, they will have to discuss and see that everyone will have a lot of time. And please discuss with the rest. If they say it's okay, because do not put it too cramped, and then you won't have a lot of time for me to discuss on what need to be changed, what you need to be added inside your final proposal. Okay. I would not be able to actually see, because if we look at the time that we have about that few more weeks during the lecture in order for us to do that. So we will use the mock presentation as our platform in which we discuss. Okay? In which we present and discuss. All right. Any more questions?
I have question.
Yeah. Only you have question, Ilyas. The rest is okay.
Umay have question. Umay.
How come you know Umay has question?
In our WhatsApp group.
Okay. So Umay, you have a question? You can type your question. If you don't have any question, please tell me that you don't have any question. Everything is clear. Is the thing clear about the research methodology? Everything is clear? Feedback from the rest, please. No question. Okay, Oliver, no question. The rest? Thank you for the name. Clear. Okay, Elliot. All right. Okay. No question. No question so far. All right, clear. Okay. Okay. This is not representative of the sample yet. I need more answers from the 23 people. Okay. Any more? Umair has not answered. Where is Umair? Okay, answered. Clear. Okay. All right. So, if you don't have any question, we shall finish our lecture today at this. I don't have anything else to add. Okay. Only that I would like to say Selamat Hari Raya, maaf zahir batin from me. If anything that I've done wrong, I ask for. This is an opportunity for me to say Selamat Hari Raya. Maaf zahir batin. Have a nice Raya. And if I have done anything wrong, I would like to take this opportunity to ask for forgiveness.
Same to me, Prof.
Okay. All right.
Prof, I have one question.
Yes.
I already researched in the paper and the methodology. Can I use the same methodology that the paper used? And I must cite the paper.
Okay, methodology. I would recommend that you do not take other people's methodology. Methodology, you have to build your own.
Okay.
Because methodology represent your work. It's not a work of others. You can use it as a guide. If you found a good methodology, you feel like, oh, this is a very good methodology you want to share with us, you can share with us. But when you do your methodology, it cannot be the same. It has the methodology that you get from the reference is just a guide. So you have to create your own methodology.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So selamat Hari Raya everyone. And selamat berpuasa. Selamat
berpuasa.
Yeah, sama.
Selamat Hari Raya, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. Selamat Hari Raya to you too.
Selamat Hari Raya, Prof.
Sama. Thank you to all of the wishes that you've given me.
Can we raya at your home?
Can. But you cannot come to many. After they will take me and put me in the. They will catch me because I have too many people in the house. You have to come in stages.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye bye, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Bye.
Bye, Prof. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.